So today, we're going to do something a little bit different. So we might just use this as our contemplation for today, which is the King of Prayers. Bodhisattva is going to do the recitation because it's like long. It's like 25 minutes. And the whole purpose of concentration is to just train the mind to be able to drop into a single, much like refracted light, that's spread out versus a laser that's laser focused. And once we do that, then there's other work that we do in that state of meditation. So it's not the end of things, it's the beginning of things. It's not the end all and be all. It is the entryway to traversing spiritual realms. And I feel that it's not often we do anything around repentance. I'm constantly encouraging people to solve their own problems and handle their business. So when you've done wrong, you just take care of it. You don't have to tell anybody. But just know within yourself and reconcile within yourself and shift your mind, and then that's the end of it. Buddha Master says, once you've done that, then forget about it. And if you can't forget about it, then sometimes you have to look and see if there's really been a true contrite repentance. But when there has been understanding Dharma principles, then we can easily forget about it. It's neutralized, it's done away with. And so I'd like to give you the opportunity to focus on, concentrate upon, and contemplate upon the Bodhisattva mind, or the Bodhi mind, today, and we can start with a clean slate. Yesterday I was handling mundane affairs. I went to downtown, I guess around 5 of us from the Sangha, at least, went down, and it was I guess it's a shame to be meeting under such circumstances, but running into old friends, some that we haven't seen for 10 years, and that alone had its value for me, just to reestablish a dharmic connection, because this life is going to have its issues, and things are going to come and things are going to go. But some things have a far lasting benefit. And so it was wonderful to run into old Dharma friends. Of course, I remember like basically nobody, because it's so, it's too many for me to hold, but they remembered us, and they, wanted to talk a little about Pannavati, and some people who were never part of the Sangha, but when we rented a bus and took a bus load of people to DC for the whatever that was, the women's march, or whatever, and then, and my mind was thinking, and then another time we took a group to South Dakota, around the water issue when the government had taken their land. And those are things that had its season and had its time. Sometimes we can do something out of season, and uh, and it's okay to do it, but you should know what season you are in. So that's a part of skillful means, and it's part of uh, I would say recognizing accomplishments. So sometimes things that you have done, they're not things that you do forever, but they had their season and their time. But best for us to be actively engaged in the right season for the work that has come to our consciousness to do. So for the rest of my life, at least, I'm not as focused on social work. I'm not focused so much on community endeavors. I'm not so focused on things that make things better for people in a social societal context and construct. My work is in a different aspect of of livelihood, aspect of living. But it was so I consider even seeing them yesterday. Some people came and took photographs and said they were just happy to see some Buddhist monks there, you know, and wanted to take photographs with us. But I didn't think of it as a show and tell. What I thought of was the sutra that speaks of how lovely it is when one's gaze even sets on a monk, that somewhere in them it encourages them and creates a an affinity for deeper spiritual awareness, and so that's what I was thinking about yesterday. And this is the difference between examining one's life through the lens of the Dharma versus examining the Dharma through the lens of one's life and one's experience. They're two very different things, and they lead to two very different places. Um, and it's hard to explain the difference. It's hard to even try to explain the difference. But the only thing you have to rely on is your own conscience to tell you which lens you're looking through. And we should be tender enough to allow our conscience to be to be pricked, because it is the predictor of our direction, of where we go from here, in every moment, wherever I am at the present moment, where I go from here, and some takes us away from the Bodhi mind, and some takes us towards the Bodhi mind. So in our own human capacity, we have a certain level of engagement that's tapped into feelings, and it's tapped, into a sense of ourself. It's tapped into our awareness through our lens as an individual person. But then there is another aspect that that is connected to our Buddha nature, our intrinsic nature, that is not connected with our human feelings. So it's like this change of lineage is also a change of being. In the guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, it tries to help us catch this vision of even our physical construct changes as the Bodhi mind becomes more apparent and supreme in our view, that we stop thinking of ourselves so much as human beings with all of the propensities that we have, and we start recognizing a capacity for being a more excellent classification of being, and this is a real transformation that occurs. Everybody can recognize the qualities of a saint. Nobody thinks that they can be one, though. And it's okay to recognize the qualities of a saint, but we should not stop there. We should endeavor to realize those same qualities in us. And to the extent that we do, we become fit or capable to do extraordinary exploits, to make great savings among beings of all classifications. I heard this morning. So Bodhisattva. So Busita went to a friend's wedding yesterday, and then last night it was the bride, the groom there.
Yeah, it was 2 women who got married, and my friend's dog was showing signs of illness. And when I saw her, she got real happy and peed a little bit, and it looked like there was blood in her urine. So I suggested that I could take her to the emergency vet on my way home. So I did, and it turned out she had a very serious blood disorder, and she needed to be euthanized.
And so, so we never know why we're present, but who amongst that whole assembly could have performed for, that dog, the transference of consciousness? Of that assembly, there was only Busita who could have done it, So when we're thinking about our presence, why we are involved in a situation, why we are called, or why we have, we shouldn't think just from a human relationship or point of view, or we shouldn't think just from a doing something for somebody point of view, but we should, Buddha Master said that saving living beings is a bodhisattva's cultivation. So while we're cultivating, like through reading, and we're cultivating through, like examining and trying to have correct thoughts and speech and action, we have to remember that it's these doings that are the most important. So to do our best, we have to have a mind towards what is the best, and what should be done in this moment or in this situation or with these people. That should always be a question that comes up besides the phone call or, hi, I haven't talked to you in a long time. What is the reason for this call? What am I to do with this conversation? or what, and having that question, opening up to that question, we can, as aspiring bodhisattvas, we begin to get direct, immediate, in the moment instruction, and it helps us to see a bigger picture that's not so individually focused on what this coming together is for, So it doesn't mean like now you just go around doing bodhisattva work and you have no sense of being a person. We don't have friends. We don't have things. No, it doesn't mean that, but that there is an overarching, overriding capacity for good, and for service when we ask that question and then open ourselves up to be available for something that can come forward. And sometimes it is just to establish an affinity in someone for the Dharma. Maybe not even in this life, maybe in a future life. Or maybe next month, or maybe next year, because we're planting seeds constantly wherever we go, either consciously or unconsciously, we're planting seeds. So what seeds are we planting when we have an encounter with someone? Everybody's not going to have a sit up front and teach role. That's just one of a gabillion roles. It has no high place. It's just a place. And so we shouldn't think that only if we're in a certain place do we have value, or in and we shouldn't look at different roles as being high or low. It's a wrong view, and it's a misunderstanding. But it is how high we are, depends on how tapped in we are to the Bodhi mind. And that's just it. So yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. What was you referred to a book,
Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life. And that might be a little premature, like maybe not the first book, but there's another, maybe not.
You think of Pema Chodron's book?
No.
Way of the Bodhisattva. Way of the Bodhisattva.
Maybe there's another book that I would think is better. Of the 37 practices of a bodhisattva. Now, which book is that in? What's the name of that book? Do you know?
Which one?
Okay, I'll give you, this one that's more fundamental, more basic, that gives you what we call pithy sayings to think about and to contemplate, because your mind has to be seasoned in a certain way for you to be leaning or inclining in this way. But it's what makes a person able to, remember, I would tell a story about a friend of mine who was a pastor. She had a husband and he was a drunk. And I was like, why are you with him? Why are you giving up your, she had a great anointing. Why are you giving up your life for that, And she said, I never once thought of it as giving up my life for that. She said, if not me here, maybe I'm the only example that he has. I see this as a service. I said, well, you can, but now I understand. I didn't understand it then. I just thought she was crazy, throwing her life away, wasting her life, But she understood what her charge was, and it wasn't a hardship for her at all. It was a hardship for me, and I wasn't even in it. But it wasn't a hardship for her at all. That she was able, she counted it all joy to be able to care for this this person and to show him, in this instance, to show him the personify the love of Jesus. And she lived her life, and when his was over, then she went on with work unimpeded. But that created the condition for her to be able to do an extraordinary unimpeded work. That was her training ground, you see. So sometimes we have to overcome many hardships of things that we don't like, but that's our training ground. And if we don't learn it, then we become not qualified to do the very things that's in our heart to do. But a few lines from this, because this is going to take a half an hour, so we have to be finished in 7 minutes. And then I want to just end it with that today, without a Dharma talk. But in this guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, it says, my reason for writing this is to benefit others and to keep my mind acquainted. Thus, the strength of my faith and my virtuous realizations might for a while be increased by this. And perhaps others who are as fortunate as I might also find this meaningful to behold. This precious human life, so hard to find, offers the ultimate goal for living beings. And if we do not strive to accomplish this goal now, how will such a precious opportunity arise again? This is how we have to cultivate the mind to be able to think. And as the mind starts thinking this way, we start to see life's unfoldment through a different lens. Says, thus, while our virtues are mostly weak, our non-virtues are extremely strong and fearsome. Other than bodhicitta, then, a compassionate mind wishing for enlightenment, what virtue can overcome the heaviest evils? Those who wish to destroy their own suffering and who wish to dispel the suffering of others, and those who wish to experience happiness should never forsake then the practice of bodhicitta. The moment that bodhicitta is generated, and what is bodhicitta?
Mind seeking. To your heart, the heart to truly want to save the living.
Isn't it like an awakened heart mind that seeks to serve all beings?
Mm-hmm.
Less tamped down by the I.
Yeah, so all of those are right. So that's what uproots the sense of I. That's what makes one's heart tender enough for I to get out of the way so that you can see what's in front of you and so that you can know how to respond to situations irrespective of how you as an individual think about circumstances. And it says that the moment this kind of mind is generated, even in pitiful beings like us, bound within the prison of samsara, we become bodhisattvas, sons or daughters of the Buddha, and are worthy of veneration by humans and worldly gods. So in brief, you should know that bodhicitta has two types: the mind that observes enlightenment and aspires, and the mind that observes enlightenment and engages. So there's a difference in having aspiration and actually engaging. And yes, you do have to have an aspiration to engage, but having an aspiration is not the same as engaging. For whoever takes up the engaging mind of bodhicitta with the intention never to turn back from completely liberating the infinite living beings throughout all realms for the sake of those with lesser inclinations. These benefits are explained with logical reasons by the Tathagata himself. And I think that's all I want to read here. Verse 30, I'll read. 29 and 30. For those who are deprived of happiness, for those afflicted with many sorrows, bodhicitta bestows upon them boundless joy and eradicates all of their sufferings. Now, who inherits the boundless joy and the eradication of suffering?
The person with bodhicitta or the person who's offering?
Bodhicitta bestows upon them boundless joy and eradicates all their suffering. Who?
I bestow that on.
Yes, and even dispels their confusion. Where is their virtue equal to this? Where is even such a friend? Where is their merit such as this? Whoever generates such a pure mind of faith, the effects of good fortune will increase. Even when bodhisattvas are faced with great adversity, negativity does not arise. Rather, their virtues will naturally increase. So I prostrate to those who have generated the holy, precious mind of bodhicitta, and I go for refuge to those sources of happiness who bestow bliss even upon those who harm them. This is the kind of mind that we cultivate through penetrating the Dharma. And we can only realize it by not just aspiring to it, but in every moment asking the question through a lens of wanting to save living beings. What is happening in this moment? Why am I here? What should I do? What is my role? And waiting for an answer. Tell you, if you ask the question, the answer will come. And it's not going to be something that we pull out of the thinking mind. And it allows you to be available and present in the moment, connecting what I call it, connecting heaven and earth. And it's effortless, you know. That's the thing. It's effortless. It's just as if you need a hairbrush because your hair is tangled. I could become a hairbrush. But in the next moment, somebody needs a toothbrush. I could just become a toothbrush. It's like being able to, in the blink of an eye, turn and become the instrument that is needed in the moment. But if I am stuck in my own self, then all I can be for you is Pannavati. And that's not enough. I don't want to talk about the situation that has brought me to this place today. But it is, but I do feel a need for a sangha repentance. And so we will do the Bodhisattva. You know, we'll do the Bodhisattva. I want to do, what's his name? Bodhisattva.
King of Prayers?
No, we're going to do the King of Prayers. but.
Richards?
Rich, yeah, but we're first gonna do a Bodhisattva. And then proceed to if you. And I don't know if it's called the King of Prayers because it's so great or it's so long, but maybe both.
Many have cried and many have died. It's a miracle I'm still alive. And death will come, it's a certainty. But when it comes, is a mystery. So I will seek my destiny, and I will start immediately. Om. All beings and set them free from all their pain and suffering. I clothe in karma and I testify that I will release and purify. I will leave this land of fire and water for the golden heart of Vajrasattva. Om. Om. Floating above this lotus moon, a holy flower starts to bloom, and a nectar flows pure and white in a many streams through many lives. Mighty Guru, holy mind of all Buddhas of all time. Om. Mind and holy deeds bring release for troubled beings, happiness and suffering. I never give up, always guide me. Your holy message will impart the wisdom that abides in my heart.
Bodhisattva Samaya, Madhupanaya, Bodhisattva Bela Badicha, Jija me bawa, Sudokayo me bawa, Subokayo me bawa, Anuredo me bawa. Sawa si de me jaya cha sawa kama susam de, si dang sher yong guru hong, ha 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 ho. Bhagawana, sawa da takada, banter ma me muza. Pazapawa, Mahasamaya, Sadua Hompe, Doja Shengbala Chache.
For those of you who don't know, that is Bodhisattva, that first tanka. And it simply represents for us a petition to a great holy being who had a particular vow, and that vow was to take on the sins and the mistakes and the shortcomings of people, that would be his greatest, that was what he wished, to be able to succor the suffering and the penalty that comes from the mistakes that he made. And so, you know how we support and help people with whatever our capacity is. In the same way, this holy being, when he overcame that mistake-making mind and had that far-reaching vision, he took up a vow: I will come and help you. And so, so it helps us when we call on a good friend to help. If I'm carrying something and I'm too weak to carry it, he comes and he gives me a helping hand and I can bear it. You see, and that's one reason why we can clearly look and honestly look at our shortcomings, and yet we don't have to stay in a state of being so depressed about our shortcomings. Rather, we can rejoice in seeing them and vowing to do better. And then we lose the fear of looking at our shortcomings. We're quick to look for them, to eradicate them, uproot them, and get them out of the way. And some of that just has to do with our muddled thinking, that we miss an opportunity in a situation to support and to help living beings. So if you will come and recite the King of Prayers, you can tell me something.
Does everyone know that the recording of this is on our website? I listen to it most nights.
Yeah, there's a recording of this being read by me with a little bit of background sound on our front page of our website, if anybody wants to listen. It's the King of Prayers, the extraordinary aspiration of the practice of Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra is also known as Vajradhara, who's also known as Dorji Chang.
The primordial.
The primordial Buddha, of which Dorji Chang Buddha III is the third incarnation, after Vimalakirti. So this is a special prayer.
For Namakai emanation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri. You lions among humans, gone to freedom in the present, past, and future. In the worlds of 10 directions, to all of you with body, speech, and sincere mind, I bow down. With the energy of aspiration for the Bodhisattva Way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies, as atoms of the world, to all you Buddhas visualized as real, I bow down. On every atom are Buddhas numberless as atoms, each amidst a host of bodhisattvas. And I am confident the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with Buddhas in this way. With infinite oceans of praise for you and oceans of sound from the aspects of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you gone to bliss. Beautiful flowers and regal garlands, sweet music, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights and sublime incense, I offer to you, victorious ones. Fine dress and fragrant perfumes, sandalwood powder heaped high as Mount Meru, all wondrous offerings in spectacular array I offer to you, victorious ones. With transcendent offerings, peerless and vast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva Way, I offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I have done with my body, speech, and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger, and confusion, all these I openly lay bare before you. I lift up my heart and rejoice in all positive potential of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, of solitary realizers, hearers still training, and those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. You who are the bright lights of worlds in 10 directions, who have attained a Buddha's omniscience through the stages of awakening. All you who are my guides, please turn the supreme wheel of Dharma. With palms together, I earnestly request you who may actualize parinirvana, please stay with us for eons numberless as atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all wanderers in samsara. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created by paying homage, offering, and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddhas stay and teach, I now dedicate all this for full awakening. May you Buddhas now living in the worlds of 10 directions, and all you gone to freedom in the past, accept my offerings. May those not yet arisen quickly perfect their minds, awakening as fully enlightened ones. May all worlds in 10 directions be entirely pure and vast. May they be filled with bodhisattvas surrounding Buddhas gathered beneath a Bodhi tree. May as many beings as exist in 10 directions be always well and happy. May all samsaric beings live in accord with the Dharma, and may their every Dharma wish be fulfilled. Remembering my past lives in all varieties of existence, may I practice the Bodhisattva Way, and thus in each cycle of death, migration, and birth, may I always abandon the householder's life. Then, following in the footsteps of all the Buddhas and perfecting the practice of a bodhisattva, may I always act without error or compromise, with ethical discipline, faultless and pure. May I teach the Dharma in the language of gods, in every language of spirits and nagas, of humans and of demons, and in the voice of every form of being. May I be gentle-minded, cultivating the 6 paramitas, and never forget bodhicitta. May I completely cleanse, without omission, every negativity and all that obscures this awakening mind. May I traverse all my lives in the world free of karma, afflictions, and interfering forces, just as the lotus blossom is undisturbed by the water's wave, just as the sun and moon move unhindered through the sky. May I ease the suffering in the lower realms and in the many directions and dimensions of the universe. May I guide all wanderers in samsara to the pure bliss of awakening and be of worldly benefit to them as well. May I practice constantly for eons to come, perfecting the activities of awakening, acting in harmony with the various dispositions of beings, showing the ways of a bodhisattva. May I always have the friendship of those whose path is like mine. And with body, words, and also mind, may we practice together the same aspirations and activities. May I always meet a spiritual mentor and never displease that excellent friend who deeply wishes to help me and expertly teaches the Bodhisattva Way. May I always directly see the Buddhas, masters encircled by bodhisattvas, and without pause or discouragement for eons to come, may I make extensive offerings to them. May I hold within me the Buddha's genuine Dharma, illuminate everywhere the teachings that awaken, embody the realizations of a bodhisattva, and practice ardently in all future eons. While circling through all states of existence, may I become an endless treasure of good qualities, skillful means, wisdom, samadhi, and liberating stabilizations, gathering limitless, pristine wisdom and positive potential. On one atom, I shall see Buddha fields, numberless as atoms, inconceivable Buddhas among bodhisattvas in every field, practicing the activities of awakening. Perceiving this in all directions, I dive into an ocean of Buddha fields, each an ocean of 3 times Buddhas in the space of a wisp of hair. So I too will practice for an ocean of eons. Thus, I am continually immersed in the speech of the Buddhas, expression that reveals an ocean of qualities in one word. The completely pure eloquence of all the Buddhas, communication suited to the varied tendencies of beings. With strength of understanding, I plunge into the infinite enlightened speech of the Dharma, of all Buddhas in 3 times gone to freedom, who continually turn the wheel of Dharma methods. I shall experience in one moment such vast activity of all future eons, and I will enter into all eons of the 3 times in but a fraction of a second. In one instant, I shall see all those awakened beings, past, present, and future lions among humans. And with the power of the illusion-like stabilization, I will constantly engage in their inconceivable activity. I shall manifest upon one single atom the array of Pure Lands, present, past, and future. Likewise, I shall enter the array of pure Buddha fields in every direction without exception. I shall enter the very presence of all my guides, those lights of this world who are yet to appear, those sequentially turning the wheels of complete awakening, those who reveal nirvana, final perfect peace. May I achieve the power of swift
magical emanation. The power to lead to the great vehicle through every approach. The power of always beneficial activity. The power of love pervading all realms. The power of all surpassing positive potential. The power of supreme knowledge unobstructed by discrimination. And through the powers of wisdom, skillful means, and samadhi, may I achieve the perfect power of awakening, purifying the power of all contaminated actions, crushing the power of disturbing emotions at their root, diffusing the power of interfering forces. I shall perfect the power of the Bodhisattva practice. May I purify an ocean of worlds. May I free an ocean of beings. May I clearly see an ocean of Dharma. May I realize an ocean of pristine wisdom. May I purify an ocean of activities. May I fulfill an ocean of aspirations. May I make offerings to an ocean of Buddhas. May I practice without discouragement for an ocean of eons. To awaken fully through this Bodhisattva way, I shall fulfill without exception all the diverse aspirations of the awakening practice. Of all Buddhas gone to freedom in the 3 times everywhere. In order to practice exactly as the wise one called Samantabhadra, all embracing good, the elder brother of the sons and daughters of the Buddhas, I completely dedicate all this goodness. Likewise, may I dedicate, just as the skillful Samantabhadra, with pure body, speech, and mind, pure actions, and pure Buddha fields. I shall give rise to the aspirations of Manjushri for this Bodhisattva practice of all-embracing good, to perfect these practices without discouragement or pause in all future eons. May my pure activities be endless, my good qualities boundless. And through abiding in immeasurable activity, may I actualize infinite emanations. Limitless is the end of space. Likewise, limitless are living beings. Thus, limitless are karma and afflictions. May my aspirations reach be limitless as well. One may offer to the Buddhas all wealth and adornments of infinite worlds in 10 directions. And one may offer, during eons numberless as atoms of the world, even the greatest happiness of gods and humans. But whoever hears this extraordinary aspiration and longing for the highest awakening gives rise to faith just once, creates far more precious positive potential. Those who make this heartfelt aspiration for the Bodhisattva way will be free of all lower rebirths, free of harmful companions, and will quickly see Amitabha, infinite light. And even in this very human life, they will be nourished by happiness and have all conducive circumstances. Without waiting long, they will become like Samantabhadra himself. Those who give voice to this extraordinary aspiration will quickly and completely purify the 5 boundless harmful actions created under the power of ignorance. Blessed with supreme knowledge, excellent body, family, attributes, and appearance, they will be invincible to vast interfering forces and misleading teachers. And all the three worlds will make offerings. Going quickly to the noble Bodhi tree and sitting there to benefit sentient beings, subduing all interfering forces, they will fully awaken and turn the great wheel of Dharma. Have no doubt that complete awakening is the fully ripened result, comprehended only by a Buddha, of holding in mind by teaching, reading, or reciting this aspiration of the Bodhisattva practice. In order to train just like the hero Manjushri who knows reality as it is, and just like Samantabhadra as well, I completely dedicate all this goodness just as they did. With that dedication, which is praised as greatest by all the Buddhas gone to freedom in the 3 times, I too dedicate all my roots of goodness for the attainments of the Bodhisattva practice. When the moment of my death arrives, by eliminating all obscurations and directly perceiving Amitabha, may I go immediately to Sukhavati, pure land of great joy. Having gone to Sukhavati, may I actualize the meaning of these aspirations, fulfilling them all without exception, for the benefit of beings for as long as this world endures. Born from an extremely beautiful, superlative lotus in this joyful land, the Buddha's magnificent mandala, may I receive a prediction of my awakening directly from the Buddha Amitabha. Having received a prediction there, may I create vast benefit for beings throughout the 10 directions, with a billion emanations by the power of wisdom. Through even the small virtue I have accumulated by offering this prayer of the Bodhisattva practice, may all the positive aspirations of beings be fulfilled in an instant. Through creating limitless positive potential, by dedicating this prayer of Samantabhadra's deeds, may all beings drowning in this torrent of suffering enter the presence of Amitabha. Through this king of aspirations, which is the greatest of the sublime, helping infinite wanderers in samsara, through the accomplishment of this scripture, dazzling with Samantabhadra's practice, may suffering realms be utterly emptied of all beings. I don't think there's anything more I can say than this beautiful prayer that was just shared. And I think the aspiration is felt in this room, which is an extremely precious, precious thing.
So I do want to ask you, how many felt, how many were able to stay with the
prayer for the 30-minute recitation, whose mind didn't go off into other places. How many could just stay with the words? Mhm.
Bill's raising his hand.
That's good.
90%.
Yeah, they're powerful visualizations.
Yeah, how many got visualization or,
You visualized it, she was saying.
yeah, how many, oh, I don't want to pre-program, I just,
I got it here.
you gotta hear, okay.
There were times that there were just tears that flowed. And so visions of Bodhisattva in times past, as well as just this bubble around this sangha, especially when the lights went out. And that light, right there, that candle was very bright.
Everybody. I'll just tell you what I'm checking for right now. I'm checking for concentration.
I just had a very bright light.
Right there. That's approaching the sign. Anybody else? Good job. So, our sister who listens to this every night when she goes to bed, now I see why your understanding is opening, you know. We start as hearers, you know, but most of the time, we're not really hearing because we're not really listening. You know, so first we have to learn how to just listen and to be just right there with what, and that's why sometimes having a recitation is good for us, because we can hone our capacity to just stay with what's being said without thoughts about it, without, you know, like, memory going into other spaces, just exactly what's being said. And to the extent that we can do that, we can enter into the state, we can enter into the state of the aspiration. And then now work starts to get easier. I mean, a lot easier because we're not dependent upon our own weakened faculties to know what's what, you know, from moment to moment. I'm talking about being to elevate beyond where our memory, our recall, our understanding can take us. There are greater dimensions that we can access. The more we can step out of our conceptualizing way and just listen and then enter into the aspirations. And so that's why we have them, that those who have attained in that way provide like a trail for us to follow. And this is a thing that's experiential. You know, you're not gonna get it like first time, second time, third time, or maybe 300th time. But I guarantee that to the extent that your heart and mind come into alignment with these aspirations, they will become stronger and stronger in you. And then you will have the will to carry out or bring the aspirations to fulfillment. And in life, that's how we end our own personal suffering. And that's also how we assist in ending the suffering of others. So there comes a time where we don't even have to do so much like outer efforting, you know, but just our own heart and mind is posited inner places, like becoming the light, and the light shines and dispels darkness. So we're not thinking of so much that we have to do. It's something that we have to just simply become. So if you get a chance, this week to go on the website and you can give 30 minutes, I encourage you to go and try this again. Now, some of us have had certain empowerments that deal with the Zen, practice, contemplating emptiness. And I want to know if anybody who had that initiation and I don't want to say what we do in the practice, but anyone who's had that initiation implemented any of that practice and noticed the difference in their capacity to move through barriers. Now, I say that anybody who has will know what I mean. So, no.
Just talking about just the mantras.
There's the mantras, there's something else also.
I didn't get the other thing. Because I never did the retreat. It's only those who did the retreat, right?
No,
Oh.
no, okay.
I'm thinking of the mantras and they've been helpful.
I know when I haven't done it.
Yeah.
And then I need to do it.
Okay, all right, so those of you who have that, just see me after, because I want to point it out
Okay.
to you, and then maybe you can notice the next. Sometimes things that happen, we don't even notice them. Okay.
I'd like to say briefly something I experienced early on. I experienced a remembrance of the state of just like this opening to love. When you had this tenderness, you started out with the prayer. And it was, and I realized it came from me as well, but it was just that opening of having an experience of that state that provided for me in the beginning of the visualization that had it be profoundly different.
If anyone has anything else they want to say, you can feel free.
We think so much it's a doing, it's a us doing, And I've tried to listen to some of these talks and some of these reflections on my way to and from work. And I don't always do it, but a lot of times I do. And it's just a seasoning of because we don't talk about this a lot, but I feel like there's a directionality that the mind naturally takes. And the ordinary mind takes this directionality towards preserving a me, mine, and my. and the Bodhisattva mind definitely doesn't go that way. And I feel like just listening to these prayers and these aspirations, it just starts to be like it seasons the mind to go in a different direction. And we don't know how long it'll take or when it will happen, but we know that the seasoning is definitely planting seeds. And it's not so much a me doing, as it is like this Bodhi mind receiving and remembering.
I think for me, hearing these things and participating and feeling the engaged energy of Sangha, even when I'm alone, if I'm listening to something, whether it be from Heartwood or just something else or something that you've sent or on the website, it's as if when I say it hits me, I don't mean like an aha, wait moment. It secretly sneaks on me sometimes when I'm out engaged. And I recognize that something that has been shared or something that has come through to me has shifted me in a way that seems so subtle and so small, but it's not really all that subtle and small, and that all those little keys on the balance can eventually kind of take the scale and tip it in the direction of my aspirations and intentions. But it's just those little moments that are just like beautiful little secrets.
You notice how it shuts down thought. And it takes us out of our mind, our conceptualizing mind. It's almost like a washing. It's a kind of engagement. It gives us an uptake. And because we're actually like just retraining the mind in how to incline. Yeah, but Rob, you can't be listening to them while you're driving.
Don't close your eyes.
Yeah, no, because you really,
Pannavati, I
really.
gotta steal my practice where I can, you know.
No, but that's why
Don't
while
close
you
your
drive,
eyes.
it's take you into another state, you can't do it. Okay.
Okay, this prayer ended with a dedication, but I'm just gonna reiterate the two of the last sections as our offering of this merit. Through even the small virtue, I'll say we instead of I, through even the small virtue we have accumulated by offering this prayer of the Bodhisattva practice, may all the positive aspirations of beings be fulfilled in an instant. Through creating limitless positive potential by dedicating this prayer of Samantabhadra's deeds,